What is up, my friends? It is Sunday night, and you are very welcome along to tonight's late night agenda. We know what we have to do now. Well, we know roughly what we have to do to get into the Champions League. It could come down to what happens with Bournemouth and Manchester City. If City beat them, we're in. If not, well, we'll need to do it on Sunday against Brentford. Tonight, we're going to talk about some transfer stuff. I'm sure you're going to have some more questions for me about the managerial situation. I'll do my best to answer those. And lots of other bits and pieces that we'll go through over the next 2 hours, I hope. Hopefully all going to plan for 2 hours. So yeah, look, ladies and gentlemen, I've been sitting here reading some of the comments before the stream, and I just wanted to make one thing really clear. USA Copbite, where are you, bro? You had said that you've not slept all night waiting for an announcement. That's not on me, dude. I didn't tell you the announcement was going to come immediately. Never once did I say that. I went out of my way yesterday to say the decision's been made, but I can't tell you when they're going to communicate that or when that's going to be put out there into the world. And I never once told you that it was going to be last night, today, tomorrow. I don't know. Could be after the last game. Could be between now and then. I don't know when the announcement is going to come. All I can tell you is the information that I received and the information I stand over today. So other than that, mate, I wouldn't be hanging around waiting for it thinking it's going to happen now or tomorrow. It's I don't know when it's going to come. I don't know. All I know is that the information that I'm given, I'm very confident in. I've spoken to two other journalists, other than the one that told me. And those two journalists are waiting for a second source before they run with something. So again, it is what it is. I can tell you what I know. I've never been afraid to do that, but I don't hide away either. And like I've said, here I am. Any questions, fire away. I'll do my best to answer them. What else have we got for today? We're going to talk a little bit about Varela, a player who've been linked to in the past. The AREN petition, which is being taken down tonight at midnight, is now up nearly at 6.7 million fans signing that petition. 6.7 million people. That is absolutely insane. So look, I want to start off with something around the Mohamed Salah situation, if I can, while we're waiting for people to come in and the stream to really get going. So today, obviously, we've seen lots of pushback around what Mohamed Salah posted on Instagram, and I'm very much on the side of Mohamed Salah on this one, but the likes of Jason Burt and Gary Neville and others speaking out against them, I really don't know what to say about it other than Gary Neville can take his opinions and stick them for all I care as a Liverpool fan. Because I tell you what, if that was Ryan Giggs in the Manchester United dressing room saying that about a coach who was failing, I bet you any amount of money that Neville wouldn't be moaning about it. I bet you'd be right behind him. And I'm certainly right behind Mohamed Salah and anybody that wants to have the standards at our football club maintained. So those people that are speaking out against Mo, I think that they've again, either they really don't understand how Liverpool fans really feel about it, or they're just, well, maybe they're of the mind that Mo was wrong. I don't know what to say about it. But for me, I'm so proud of Mo for saying it. I'm right behind him, as I think most people are. The first poll that we have tonight asking is, was Mohamed Salah right to speak up about the standards at the club? I very much believe he is. And again, the amount of players who've either interacted with Mo's post, liked it, given a thumbs up, it's growing and growing. And even Xherdan Shaqiri was adding his name to that list. So whoever is trying to say that Mohamed Salah was speaking at a turn, I think they're very much mistaken. Now, how the club deal with this situation, I don't know. If anything, maybe they just hope it all blows over. With regard to the Salah post, I mean, and, you know, when he leaves, then maybe they don't have to do anything. But for me, they can all get fucked. Every single one of them. Because this is a man who has set the standard at our club, wanting those standards maintained, and we're supposed to be upset about that. I don't know why so many of these people are going out of their way to try to back a failure. And it is embarrassing at this point. The amount of journalists that either have no clue what we've all been through this season, or just want to be good little yes people. Or maybe some of them actually do believe Mo was wrong. But honestly, I think once again we're seeing now a snidey side to some of these journalists. Because if that was Harry Kane, the England captain, doing something like that, I don't think the pushback would be anywhere near as extreme. But like, mainly though, Neville can fuck right off. I don't care what Neville has to say about anything Liverpool, because I'm sure he does want Arne Slot to stay at the club. I'm sure he wants Liverpool to fail for another few years. I don't. Liverpool fans don't. The dressing room doesn't. Eddie, hope you don't mind me asking what happened last night. I wasn't available to watch the show. I got information yesterday from a journalist that their information is that the decision's been made to remove Arne Slot as Liverpool head coach. I then got some more information, Eddie, midstream, and I had to actually pause to read, that backed it up and confirmed that that person is looking for their own second source before they can run an article with it. And as today has gone on, there's a lot of people looking for that second source. So, look, I'm happy with what I said and I'm comfortable with what I said. I'll take you back to the Florian Wirtz situation last summer. That took a couple of weeks before it was proved that I was right and the information that we had that there was nothing to worry about came out. That's all I can do, folks. At this point, I get it. You don't want to trust what I have to say. No problem. No offense taken from me whatsoever. But all I can do is tell you what I know. I hope that you've known from the years I've been on here that if I don't know something, I will tell you I don't know it. I don't know what's going on with Canada. I don't know what's going on with lots of other bits and pieces. But when I know something, I'll tell you, especially if I believe it's more than credible. Other than that, I'm just going to have to wait the same as everybody else to see when it happens. But I firmly believe that decision has been made. And this comes from, I know the source of my source as well, which I only found out earlier on today. And that in itself is more reassuring for me. I can't tell you who my source got it from, but I'm happy with it. That's all I can say. But look, I've always said to you guys, I don't mind if people doubt me. That's okay. That's natural. And I would say be skeptical about everything. But I can only be responsible for what I did say. And I never said that it was coming out tomorrow morning. I never said that it was coming out tonight. I told you flat out, I don't know when it's coming out. If I do get more information on timeframes, happy to give it to you. But other than that, I don't know what else I can really say. It's going to happen, in my opinion, based off my information. When it happens, your guess is as good as mine at this point. And that's the honest answer. I could sit here shithousing. It'd be very easy for me to sit here and say it'll happen after the last game, but I'd be lying to you. I don't know when it's going to happen. Darren, how are you, bro? Said, absolutely love Mo for this. I do as well. Because it would have been easy from Darren to just do nothing and leave and move on and, go about his career. But every word that he wrote there, I back. Every single sentence, every single letter, every single full stop, I back. It was spot on. And he's right. The standards have been appalling and it's fallen off so badly. CBS and ESPN, from what I've seen, have gotten everything spot on about Slot and his failings and told it like it is for most of the British media. So I don't obviously get a chance to keep too much of tabs on what the American media are saying. Look, I don't know why there's such an appetite from so many people to back failing Arne Slot. I don't understand that. And there is still a lot of people who think he should get another go at it. But they seem to be people who are outside the ecosystem of our club. I challenge anybody that watches Liverpool every week and watches the style of football that we're playing to come up with anything to say that Arne Slot is good enough. He isn't. And winning the league in your first year doesn't mean you get to fail and fail and fail. And the numbers don't lie. The numbers are awful. Absolutely awful. We're going to, if we get into the Champions League, get in there with a number of points that wouldn't get you in there almost every other season. The results have been shocking. The performances have been shocking. The dressing room is split. The fans don't want them. 6.7 million people signing a petition that the Echo and their ilk won't even cover because it doesn't suit their narrative. But look, we know he hasn't been good enough. We know that as Liverpool fans, and I don't think we can be fooled again with it. What happens with Hughes, Edwards? Well, look, think about it this way as well. Their necks are on the line here. If it's seen that the manager's failed, so of course Edwards and Hughes are going to want to try and keep the show on the road as long as they can, because that will mean that they haven't made a mistake yet. But FSG, let's wait and see. Because I promise you one thing, all of these people that are saying he should be kept in the job, watch if Liverpool somehow don't get Champions League now. Watch the tone change. And like I've said before, if that's as little as it takes to swing a manager's decision either way. A couple of points here. They have no faith in him. If they had faith in him, like I've said, the contract would be on the table. He'd sign a new one and we'd all be shutting up. Eddie said, I fully trust you and I'm with you. Look, I can't share my information publicly, but I've shared it with Keane, our chief moderator. So at least Keane can say he's seen what I've seen. I had to, because I need people to know that I'm not making this shit up. So I've sent Keane what I've been sent from who I've heard it from. Keane knows as much as I know at this point about it, our chief moderator, because it's important to me that my team of moderators know that they're not supporting an asshole on here who's just making shit up. So it's important to me that they know I'm sincere when I say we got this information, and Keane has seen exactly what I've got. Did you get a chance to look at Honus? No, I haven't, Sean. I've been in the studio all day today. We were decorating it. We were hanging up all the shirts, the paintings, the photos. So it's pretty much ready now. We've some sound checks, a little bit of technical work to do in there, but we'll be starting to work from the studio in June. And also tomorrow night, I won't be streaming tomorrow night, but what we are doing is we're recording another episode of the Anfield Agenda podcast with one of our new faces for next season. So we're going to introduce him to you guys tomorrow as well. We're going to put the full podcast episode up on the main channel tomorrow night at 8:30. We'll be going through the SALAH situation, the managerial situation, the transfer window, and lots more with a new face that you will see a lot more of next season. Tiger Valley said, didn't emotionally hit me until now. I'm seriously going to miss Salah. After this week, he's gone. The recent stunt is such an epic start to his exit. Yeah, it's going to be really emotional next weekend. And that's what I was saying all week. I hoped that we didn't have to get a result from this game, because I didn't want to be sitting there as a fan worrying about having to get points out of it. I wanted to just enjoy Robbo and Salah and a few others who may be saying farewell as well. I wanted to just enjoy the occasion. So I hope that Manchester City get a win against Bournemouth and our job is done for us. But either way, the fact that we're still fumbling the bag at this point to get over the line is just pathetic, quite frankly. Charles said, we believe you and Salah's right to speak out. What a frustrating final season for our Egyptian king and Robbo. Arna has destroyed us and deserves to go. There isn't anything, Charles, that I can think of rationally that would justify giving him another season. None. So, you know, I don't really understand how this has even been a debate up to this point within the club. You know, these are supposed to be numbers people. And if they're numbers people and they're looking at the numbers paint a very clear picture. What you're hearing about, again, people like Neville hasn't got a fucking clue what's going on at Liverpool. Let me read you out what Gary Neville said, and then I'll tell you why he's full of shit. He said this: it looks like Liverpool, with Chelsea signing Xabi Alonso this morning, it did tell me that Liverpool are going to keep their manager for next season, which I'm happy about. I genuinely think a manager that won the league 12 months ago deserves an opportunity to get it right. He had a more challenging season this time around. They're still in the Champions League spots. Gary Neville hasn't got a fucking clue why Liverpool didn't go for Xabi Alonso, and it's got nothing to do with wanting to stick with Arne Slot. He doesn't have a clue what he's talking about. He doesn't have a clue what's going on inside Liverpool, and he doesn't have a fucking clue what he's talking about. Quite frankly, he just doesn't have a clue. And of course he wants Slot to stay. Why wouldn't he want a failing coach to stay at his arch rivals? But the fact that I'm having to listen to Neville's opinion on this makes me sick, because I couldn't give a fuck what he has to say. And this, I genuinely think a manager that's won the league 12 months ago deserves an opportunity to get it right. He did have an opportunity to get it right, and he shit the bed, and he shit the bed massively. So he can just stop with his bullshit. It's ridiculous at this point. Sunday supplement panel. I think Slot should come out and say what he really thinks about Mohamed Salah. I drop him for the final day, said Jason Burt of The Telegraph. Yeah, really, Jason? You and all your ilk as well last year telling us that we weren't getting Florian Wirtz, we weren't getting the likes of Alexander Isak. I don't give a fuck what any of these gobshites have to say anymore, because none of them have an understanding of our club the same way we do as fans. None of them really give a shit whether Slot fails or succeeds. But we're in it. We've lived through it this year. We've seen it. And there is no redeeming features to keep him in the job. None. He's failed, and he's failed hugely. And this narrative that, again, they're just inventing, that it's been a really difficult season, is absolute crap. Look at this, the pathetic points total it's taken to get into the Champions League this year. There's been nothing difficult about this season outside of the Diogo tragedy. But that was almost a year ago now. And he hasn't been able to get a performance out of these lads properly for 16 months. So any goodwill that Liverpool fans are supposed to have for a title-winning manager that pretty much has now shown us how he won the title by using Klopp's setup. Then he changed it and it's fallen off and he hasn't gotten it back. The warning signs are there. He hasn't got a clue how to put it right. He hasn't got a clue how to motivate the team. He's lost half the dressing room and the fan base don't want him here. All of this other stuff is just noise. It's just noise and waffle from journalists that don't have a fucking clue what they're talking about. So, in response to Jason Burt's little outburst on the Sunday supplement panel, which I'd love to see SALAH drop for the last day. Oh, I'd love to see that, Jason, because that wouldn't fucking end well for AREN. That stadium would very, very quickly show what side they're on. So yeah, try it, Jason. Let's see what happens. But anyway, Backseat Man LFC posted this. SALAH, I want the standards to remain high, Liverpool to play good football that the opposition fears, and to be regularly competing for trophies. English media, drop him. There's a declaration of war. Fans will turn on him. And they wonder why they're losing their jobs to fan media. I don't wonder why they're losing their jobs to fan media, because they're disingenuous and they're talking out their arse. So, yeah, let them continue to waffle. Let them continue to look like fools, like many of them did last summer, when they were all taunting us saying that we aren't getting Isak. There's no way. They've been told from the Saudi investment fund they're not selling, blah, blah, fucking blah. How did that go? So look, on the poll, we're asking, was SALAH right to speak up about the standards? Let us know, yes or no. Here's a blast from the past for you. This one coming out of, I think, Portugal. I'm not 100% certain on the source of this because I don't recognise the name, but it said Liverpool are interested in Porto midfielder Alan Varela, who could depart this summer. I feel like this is a blast from the past. I don't know if this is lazy or if the interest is still there, but I haven't got a clue on this one, folks, about Alan Varela, whether Liverpool are interested or not. Are you sure SALAH is going, Craig? No, I just made it up for a laugh, Matt. I just thought, you know what, I'll just throw a dart at a dartboard and see what the piece of paper that it hit says, and I just thought I'd come up. Like, I can't repeat myself 50 times over and over again, dude. I've said what I've said. I've come on tonight at the start and explained what I've said. I'm not hiding away. I'm here. I'm confident in the information I have. I'm very confident where it comes from. Other than that, what else can I say to you? I don't have anything else to add to it because there's nothing new to add that didn't change from yesterday or that changed from yesterday. So yes, I'm absolutely confident what I've said, but like, I've no idea on the time frame, and I said that yesterday to you. But then again, I see people in the comments of the video last night going, not announced today, yeah, you know it. Did I ever fucking tell you when it was going to be announced? Because I don't know when it's going to be announced, so I don't know how these arseholes in the comments that are trying to take cheap shots at me suddenly knew that I said it was going to be today. I never once said it was going to be today, never once said I knew when it was going to be out. I just told you what I know. That's it. Look, these are tough calls to make. When you're making these early shouts, you have to trust the people that are giving you the information. You have to be strong about it. But make no mistake about it, folks. If, and I don't believe my information will be wrong, but if my information is wrong, I'm not going to make excuses. I'm not going to hide away. I'll take it on the chin and I'll front up like I always do. But all I'm asking is just bear with me. Have a little bit of faith, or just ignore me for a week or so and see what happens. And I think your faith will be well placed. We could have all players fit. Wouldn't make any difference the way Slot sets the team up. Honus has gone from 17 to 2 to 9 to 2. All your subscribers must have gone to the bookies last night. So on the Honus thing, I definitely went out of my way to say, look, his name has been mentioned, and his name has been mentioned by a couple of people. But I don't know for certain that Sebastian Honus is the direction they're going to look in, but he is somebody that they've, at the very least, made contact with his representatives and have been paying attention to. It was a name given to us as one that they think is potentially an option, but I don't know who it's going to be. I don't know if they look at Iriola. I don't know if they look at Nagelsmann. I don't know if they'll look at somebody that we haven't spoken about maybe. But all I know is that according to a journalist who's extremely, extremely well placed, the decision has been made. Where am I? Is SALAH sacked? Yeah. I think you know the answer to that question, or you wouldn't be asking it. Everyone has an opinion on Liverpool, but not other clubs. Exactly. And all the opinions are that basically, look, Gary Neville told us all that David Coote was drunk and that we've all said silly things when we're drunk. And then he told us that referees are good people and that we shouldn't be judging until he was made to look like a fucking idiot when all the information about Coote came out. So again, like I've said, I don't know what else to say, but I can only tell you what I know, and I don't know what else to say. A respected Hungarian sports paper received a conversation where Dom said if Slot stays, he won't sign a new contract. Wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me one bit. Look, that dressing room is split. You don't get the amount of players backing Salah's post publicly like they did. These guys know that every like, every comment is scrutinised. The media are all over it. This wasn't an accident. This would have been something I'm sure Mohamed Salah told the dressing room he was going to do. Maybe it was at his farewell dinner. Maybe it was in a team meeting. I don't know. But you can see the support that post has gotten. And he's very cleverly worded it the way he has, because it isn't just about players coming into the club that have to keep up the standards. It's the coaches. And he hasn't. He just simply hasn't been anywhere near the standard. Did you see what Sam Wallace wrote? No, I didn't. I didn't see what Sam Wallace wrote today in the Telegraph. I'd seen... What had I seen? I'd seen something somewhere from the Telegraph, but I didn't know if it was Sam Wallace or not. So no, mate, I don't know what he's written. Craig, Slot needs to go. You're right about Neville. He's happy to see a rival club fail. Salah is right to call him out, but I worry at what cost. I feel he's testing the theory of no players bigger than the club. But he doesn't. He's gone anyway. Like, Salah will be gone at the end of next week, so he doesn't really have to worry about anything from a pushback, really, because that decision's made. You know, Salah's announced his departure, and he'll be going at the end of the season. So I don't even think there's a doubt about what side people are on this. I've seen maybe 5 people who think Salah was in the wrong, and that's okay as well. People are entitled to their opinion on that. But I don't know if all of these people that think that Slot should be kept on, if they actually watch us. Because it's all very well and good jumping on and saying, no, he won a league last year, but quite how bad it's been this year should be more than enough for these people if they really have paid attention to us. Because my God, we've been bad. And we've not even looked like we've nearly gotten it right. And he's on another shitty end of season run when he could have basically stumbled over the line to Champions League football, and he's made incredibly hard work of some incredibly easy games at the end. And he's fucked it up again. Even now, we're having to hope going into the very last game of the season. Itachi said, evening, my friend. We back Mo. Are we still Slot out based on your source? Watch Arna bench Mo versus Brentford. Yes. So some extra bits that I can, I guess, say today that I didn't know at the point yesterday is the reason the article hasn't been written by the journalist that gave me the information is he needs to corroborate that with a second source, which of course they should do, writing it out there. But again, the viewpoint is still the same. And I know of 2 other journalists who are in the same boat that are looking for that extra second source to make sure that they can run with it, because they have to cover their arses totally. I get that. They have to be far more in-depth about these things than I would be. But I'm happy to give you the information that I have because, like I've said, who gave it to us is pretty high up, pretty well regarded, and it also tallies with something else that I was told from somebody within Liverpool Football Club at a very high level, indirectly. That's again indirectly, but to somebody who I absolutely know isn't lying. Yeah, that's where I'm at. But look, I've always said, and I said it yesterday, you can watch the stream back and watch the video. I've told you I don't know when the time frame is. Is it going to be, let's say, Man City beat Bournemouth and we're confirmed Champions League football? Maybe it comes out then. Maybe it comes out after the last game of the season. I really don't know. And I really don't know who the replacement is going to be either. It's not information, it's just hearsay. No, it's information. It's absolute information. But like I've said before, you're telling me that I'm wrong. Okay, and that's fine. You can question me all you want. All I'm saying to you is, look at my track record of things that I've said on this channel. Verts all summer, when everybody was doubting it. Did I doubt it once? Did I wobble? Did I change my stance? Fabio Carvalho, I was the first person to bring that story out. So I'm comfortable and confident in what I've said. And it isn't just information. It's from a very credible source. But here's the thing, right? Let's say David Ornstein or James Pearce or Paul Joyce or anybody else, do they write who their sources are when they're writing their articles? Do they tell you who they are? No, they can't. Of course they can't, because they'll never get anything again. All they write is senior Anfield sources say, and everybody just goes, oh, okay then. So look, question me, no problem. But you don't get to condescendingly tell me that it isn't information that I've gotten. It absolutely is information. That's it. This one. Leona, how are you? Hey Craig, can't wait to celebrate when he's sacked. Same as me. Look, I feel so much more rested than I did up until yesterday, because once I got that information, and today I found out that there were two other journalists, other than the journalist that I got the information from, waiting to run their own stories, who are trying to get a second link. Now, what I can say to you is, are all of their first sources from the same place? That I don't know. Yeah, because I don't know these other two well enough to know. But look, I've got two things to me in the last week. One from somebody within Liverpool, who I can't say who, because it will throw somebody else under the bus. And the second one is from a journalist. And the journalist is, like I said yesterday, one that doesn't cover Liverpool Football Club solely, but does cover football. Outside of that, if you want to ignore everything I'm saying, crack on. No problem. No offence taken from me whatsoever. Donald said, do you think FSG intervened and told Hughes Edwards that he has to go? Thanks for all your work during these times. Don't know. I don't know who ultimately made the call. I don't know. You got it wrong with Gordon. Did I? What did I get wrong with Gordon? Please tell me what I got wrong with Gordon that you've misspelled, by the way. What did I get wrong with Gordon there, the Curvin? That Liverpool wanted him, which they did. That he nearly signed for us, and he was telling people in the England camp that he was signed for us. All that's public information, mate. So I was spot on with that as well. Look, I don't really give a fuck if people whose names I've never seen in my chat before doubt me. That means nothing to me. Crack on. Like I've said, you won't come in when I'm proven right, the same way you didn't come in when I was proven right in the past. You won't be man enough to come in and go, you know what, Craig, I doubted you, but you were right. Because you weren't right, or you weren't man enough to do it in the past. So I don't really care. I care about the people who are in here every night and that I know and that I interact with. I care about whether they believe it or not. Of course I do. But somebody who's just popped in an account name I've never seen in the chat before, that thinks they know everything about me, can kiss my ass. As far as I'm concerned, I don't give a fuck what you think. You know, I said it and I could have said nothing and just sat there. I trust you, Craig. All the haters are Craig curious. Look, skepticism is natural. I get that. But to tell me that I don't have information, it just makes me laugh. Because do you think we've gotten to this point and not built up some information? or not built up some contacts over the 8 years we've been doing this. If you think that, then fair enough. But I can promise you, we have. And I've so much experience coming on here and tell you I don't know. Like, you can ask me questions about transfers and I'll tell you I don't know. I could do what lots of other people do and blag it and go, well, I heard this, but I tell you I don't know, because I'm not afraid to tell you I don't know. But when I know something and I feel very confident in it, I'll say it. Simple as that. Anyone else feel a huge weight has been lifted? Yes, but much like the Vert situation, Corbin, I'll feel an even bigger weight's been lifted when it's done. Because I'm not going to lie, even though I was 100% certain on Verts, that situation got squeaky bum time. It did, because it dragged on longer than I initially thought it was going to. And it definitely, there were times where I felt, right, look, this information's bang on, but it's taking its fucking time here. Is there something I don't know about it? But obviously that came, as we said it did in the end. And yeah. Right. Hey Craig, just curious, but it's the same source that told you about Vert signing with Liverpool, the same source that told you about SALAH? No. I've never gotten information from this source before. Ever. The one that told me us about the situation with SALAH. Never got information from this guy before. Don't actually even know this person directly until this whole situation evolved. But like I've said, I've told you far more than any, and I'm not a journalist, but than any journalist would. You're not getting Fabrizio Romano or Ornstein or Pierce or Joyce or any of them telling you any of this kind of information. As I've given you more than most people will give you. But you know, I can only keep repeating myself. There's nothing I can add that I wasn't able to add yesterday. I don't know the timing of it. But like everybody else, I'll be relieved when he's gone. And look, this wouldn't surprise me if it's done midweek, and it wouldn't surprise me if it's done in 2 weeks. I don't know the timing of it, and I'm aware I'm going to have to sit tight on it, but my intention here is not to mislead anybody. Like, it doesn't benefit me to mislead people. Why would I come on and lie when I'm here every day and people are just going to come in and rinse me for it? I'm just setting myself up for heartache. It just doesn't make sense. But of course, skepticism, like I've said, is absolutely natural. I get that. Right, let's keep going. Dream scenario. City win Tuesday. We clinch the place. Fire slot. Klopp comes in to manage Salah, Robbo, possibly Ali's last game. Heavy metal one more time. So I might be on my own on this one, but I actually think he should be there for the last game of the season, because if it's going to be his last game managing Liverpool, I think he's earned the right to be there to say goodbye. Because he did win us a league title, and I've said this yesterday, it's never been a personal thing with me with SALAH, and I don't think with any of you guys either. It's just not the right guy, and it's not a good fit, and it doesn't work. But I don't have anything against Arne Slot as a guy. How could I? I don't know the man, and I think he dealt with the Diogo situation remarkably well. But as this season has gone on, he's shown us that he doesn't get it. He just doesn't get Liverpool fans, and he doesn't get the club. But I am very intrigued to find out who made the call. That's something I'd love to know, and if I do find out, I will let you know, but I don't know if I'll ever know who actually made the call. It might be down the line when Pierce or Ornstein or anybody else gets the clearance and gets the information. I'm sure they'll probably be able to tell you when all this came about and exactly how it transpired. I don't have that. Ben said, I don't want it to be ugly, I just want it to be over. Exactly that. Same for me. I don't want any of this to be toxic. It doesn't have to be. But just needs to be done, and it needs to be common sense, because I've struggled so much this season to see Liverpool. Like, there was an article written today, and I can't remember what outlet it was, and the gist of the article was basically Liverpool's owner set to go to war with their own fans over Arne Slot. And I just thought, if you're going to have a hill to die on as owners, he's not the guy to be backing for that. Because if you know anything about football, which again at this point I don't know if FSG do, it's really clear that this isn't a blip. This isn't something that he can get wrestled back, because he can't explain how he's going to get it back. He just keeps saying, we know. Few tweaks, we know. But again, logically, he couldn't knit 5 new players into the team this year without injuries and without them players looking off the pace, except for maybe Hugo Ekitike. Kirkes has progressed as the season's gone on. So there's no way he's getting 5, 6, 7 new players in and we're going to be better next year, because the dressing room doesn't want to play for him. And I can't corroborate that story that the guy said earlier on, coming out of Hungary, that Szoboszlai said he won't sign a new contract if Arne stays, but it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if that's the case. Because I wouldn't. If I was in that dressing room now and I was to sign a new contract, I wouldn't be signing it with Slot in charge. If I was a player looking to come in, looking at what I'd seen this year at Liverpool, I wouldn't be coming in. You know, I don't know if they're underestimating quite what an impact keeping Slot on would have. I don't know if the people who initially wanted to keep him have weighed that up, but yeah. Gave up on Slot after Forest and PSV games at home, said John Allison. So I couldn't tell you, John, exactly the game, but it was in and around that period, yeah. In and around that whole time for me. It was probably a little bit later than the United loss, because I remember that was after an international break, came back in October, United beat us 2-1. And I remember a while later just feeling, no, this isn't it. This is just so far gone. And like I've said, 6.7 million people signing a petition to get rid of the manager without really it being publicised by any of the mainstream outlets. That takes some doing. And it takes, you know, to get anybody to sign a petition or click on a petition is a pain in the arse. But to get 6.7 million people to do it, you can't get 6.7 million people to do a lot on the internet. If you have an account the size of Liverpool's, you'd struggle to get 6.7 million people to like something or to agree with something. But this small little Twitter account that I don't know if it even existed before this post, posted that, and look where we are now. 6.7 million Liverpool fans want him gone. And nobody's voting on that unless they're a Liverpool fan that wants him gone, because opposition fans aren't wanting him gone. They're not clicking on it. Don't you just love when former players of opposition teams have an opinion about us and telling us how to act? Gary Neville can fuck off telling us how to act. The same way he tried to tell us how to act with David Koo. The same way he tried to tell us Koo was drunk. He just needs to shut his mouth. Neville isn't the Prime Minister of football. Neville just gets too much airtime and thinks he has the right to just spew opinions on everything. I couldn't give a shite what Neville says about Liverpool. Couldn't care less. He's no intention of us, or no desire for us to do well. So of course he's going to want a failing manager there. But like I said, if he was in the dressing room and Ryan Giggs put a post out that Salah did, because I was trying to think of a comparable legend from each club, and let's say Ryan Giggs put that out when United were struggling. Not under Sir Alex, obviously, because nobody would do that. There's no way that I don't think Neville would be there backing him. These people are fucking delusional and they're hypocrites and they think that we're all stupid. So, like I said, Neville is so far removed from where this situation is that I don't even know why he's given the opportunity to talk about it. That's it. And I'm sick of him. I'm sick of Neville. And he can go around trying to buy every fan channel he wants. He ain't getting near this fucking channel. I'd rather burn this place to the ground than sell it to Gary Neville and co. Yeah. So, Man U trying to tell Liverpool fans how to feel. Yeah, it's like Ian Doyle, the Arsenal fan, trying to tell me, the Liverpool fan, how to act, how to support Liverpool, how to behave. I find the whole thing laughable. Like I need Neville to tell me how to support Liverpool or what we should be thinking. Imagine this was United again. Like Arne Slot at this point looks like he fluked the league title. And then, like I said, changed it halfway through the season and has been god-awful ever since. So, lazy people will tell you it's this season. But it isn't just this season. It's this season plus March on of the season before. And I think March is maybe even me being generous. could be February on from last season. But the warning signs were there then. But people at that point were willing to, and I was probably one of them, to be fair, to some extent, although I was calling it out, were willing to give him the benefit of the doubt because he won a league title. But it's now really clear why he won a league title. He won a league title because he hadn't yet wrecked the fitness and confidence of the players from the Klopp era. As soon as his training methods came in, then we fell off. The fitness levels went off, the injuries start coming up, and now we're supposed to feel sympathy for him with all these injuries? Like, let's think about this logically. Of course Hughes, Edwards and Slot all want to stay in the roles. Of course they do. Because they're on the hook for a £125 million striker that has injuries every 2 minutes. Verts that Slot hasn't been able to knit into the team at all. Frimpong, who they don't know where to play. The Elliott deal that they made an absolute fucking hames of. The one summer transfer window they tried to rush everything in on and still didn't finish it. So, if we're really being honest about this, Hughes and Edwards should absolutely be looking over their shoulders because they've shit the bed massively. And they've cost FSG a lot of money. So, they should be concerned. And they should be fired as well. I don't know that they're going to be. I don't, but they should be. Because they've absolutely made a mess of this. And the real icing on top of the cake here is that they're now trying to just make shit up. Oh, we're absolutely sure it'll be great next season. Why? How will it be great? Tell us. Explain to us how it'll be great. But you won't see that. You don't see the data. Like, there's no data. There is absolutely no data to show he's been unlucky. Because it would have been out there. Somebody, a statistician, would have put it out there for you. Somebody that understands these things. It's all just, like I've said before, it's just club PR bollocks. Because why would they intentionally undermine themselves before the season's over? They're not going to go, like, we might need to beat Brentford. They're not going to go, yes, like, you can fuck off before we play Brentford. Like, he won't even try then. So, again, just some common sense needs to be taken into consideration as well. Let me see where I'm at. You think Slot will regret turning down the Ajax job? It's a good question. I don't know. Like, whenever I'm asked these questions, I try to put myself in the other person's shoes. And if I was Arne and I'd come into Liverpool, done well, then failed, I wouldn't want to go back to the Eredivisie because I think then you're pigeonholing yourself back into that league. I would probably look for Spain or Italy. If I'm him, I think his style of football, Italy is probably better suited to it. But whatever the data that Will Spearman and co used, it's flawed. And it's shown to be flawed. Because he isn't the character that we need, and he isn't the coach that we need. And there's no signs of it. A good coach who got off to a rocky start in the season, you will see progression as the season goes on. You will see relationships around the pitch forming, patterns of play getting better, less mistakes creeping in. But we haven't seen that at all. And we won't see it because it doesn't exist. Again, we're conceding ridiculous amounts of goals. You've got Ollie Watkins of Aston Villa saying that they knew they were going to get chances because we play with a high line, but we don't play an offside trap. Like, they're basically laughing at us because they knew they were going exactly how they were going to hurt us. We basically had no right back for half the season. The man is a spoofer. And the only people that are going to bat for him are the ones whose jobs are at risk if he fails. Where was I? Sorry. This one. I think I've done this, have I? Yeah, I've done that one. Forsheimer. If Slot is sacked, should the club also get rid of Hughes and Edwards at the same time? I believe we need long-term solutions for those positions now. So, the Edwards position, I don't know what happens there. I was told the other day, and I think I said this on a stream, I'm fairly sure I did, that the belief is that he's gone back to the company he founded with Dr. Ian Graham. Is it Ludonautics or something along those lines? So that is believed that that's where he's gone back to. So I don't know whether he'll see out the last year of his contract with FSG or not, but that's seemingly the direction of travel for him. With Hughes, I haven't got a clue. But if you're asking me my opinion on it, I probably don't feel as strongly towards getting rid of Hughes as I do Edwards, because a lot of what we're seeing, to me, feels like an Edwards power grab, power struggle, whatever way you want to put it. It seems like Liverpool don't want a big personality as a coach that's going to want what Edwards has, which is the authority. But Hughes, I really don't know. I don't know how to get a read on Richard Hughes, because he got big deals over the line. There's no denying that. He did get big deals over the line. But was that a case of saying the biggest number? Because I can imagine whatever the spiel is that they gave to Wirtz about him coming in to be the 10, I'm sure as the season's gone on and he's been played all over the place, he's been a bit annoyed about that. And I still don't understand why they went for Frimpong and who sanctioned it, because we don't have a place for him, an automatic place for him in the team. We're finding that we have to try and shoehorn him into positions that he's not good enough in, because we don't play that system. And I really don't know who made the final call on Isak either. Because when we signed Hugo Ekitike, I thought we'd probably see Liverpool then look for another centre-forward, but somebody even a level below Ekitike financially, somebody maybe 40 to 50 million. But to double down, like, again, of course they want to get it right, because they're on the hook for 450 million quid's worth of transfers that they brought in. Like, at the end of the day, if they backed Slot, why didn't they do something in January? Why didn't they give him a new contract at any point? I think probably they should all go, because I think FSG need to clear the decks here. Because the way the club has been run is very... What's the word I'm looking for? Clannish. Do people know what I mean when I say clannish? There's cliques. There's little relationships. There's little ins. And you've seen Chris Williams and others say that it's like North Korea. You can't say anything negative. And if you do say it negative, you're getting snarky WhatsApp messages from Tony Barrett or people at the club about the articles that you've written. So I'm sure it's not easy to admit you were wrong, but I'm hoping that it was FSG that made the call, or Gordon that made the call. I don't know. Tiger Valley said, in my eyes, you are a journalist, a trustworthy one. I'm definitely not a journalist. I wouldn't. Those guys went to college, studied, got degrees. I'm not a journalist. I'm just a fan. I'm a fan that over the course of doing this has made a couple of contacts, but I don't get everything. And I always tell you that I don't get everything. There's been lots of things like Canade. I couldn't tell you right now what's happening with that situation. Others have tried to say that it's really close. Others have tried to say it's really far away. I've been honest and said I haven't got a clue what's going on there. But as a fan, I'm angry about how this season's gone. I'm angry that in January they could have rescued the season. Now, I don't know for a fact that we would have won something if they had have. But what I do know is City didn't have a great start to the season. City went out in January, brought in a winger and a centre-back and have just won 2 cups. And are, at worst, going to finish second in the league. So that's owners that want to win. But and also, I still don't understand why they did nothing in year 1. Why they were willing to sit back and not bring in any transfers and then try to shoehorn a load in. And then when they failed and it was clear they were failing and Edwards and Hughes' methods were failing, they said that it was a tumultuous season with lots of... No, it wasn't. This has been a season where the standard in the Premier League has been lower. And if you were in any way decent, we'd have had these Champions League spots wrapped up a month ago. But the fact that we're even still in a race for a Champions League spot's criminal, because the season's been shite across the board. Like 62 points is the maximum we can finish with now. That doesn't get you Champions League football almost every other season. This one. Hey Craig, I hope it's out that Slot is leaving before our last game because it'll get toxic. At least he might get a good send-off if we already know. So dream scenario for me, Michael, is that Man City beat Bournemouth. We get the place secured. And then, yeah, the announcement's made that not only is it going to be Mo's last game and Robbo's last game, maybe a couple more, that it would also be Arna's last game. Because I do think, yes, he deserves a thank you for that league title. He will always be a title-winning manager. My argument is there's no evidence to show we can turn it around. If I thought there was evidence there, if I really believed that he could, I'd be on here saying he should get another chance as well. But I don't think there's any indication that he's even close to figuring it out based off the body of evidence that we've had all year, the work that we've seen out there on the pitch. We are so far away. And the players don't want to play for him. Well, I can't say that about all of them. That's unfair. But you can see there's a large collection of them that are at the very least doubtful about him. You know, and again, ripped apart by Villa. And that could have been another 2 or 3 and we couldn't have complained about it. And that's the second to last game of the season. So if he hasn't gotten it right or even gotten it nearly right, how the fuck are we supposed to believe he'll ever get it right? Throw in another 5 or 6 signings. He couldn't put 5 or 6 into the team this year. So what it looks like they're trying to do is remove any strong personality from that dressing room. I don't know why Michael Edwards is so insecure that he doesn't want anybody with a backbone at Liverpool. It's fucking pathetic. I want my dressing room filled full of leaders. I want my dressing room filled full of people who will speak up about the standards. Who, if they see that people aren't cutting the hard yards, I want them talking about it. I want to know as a fan. So give me Mohamed Salah every day of the week coming out with stuff like this when it's justified. Salah didn't come out with this after we'd won something. He came out with this because the standards have fallen to the floor. It's really clear to see it. The training methods are shocking. The lads look like they can't keep up. The evidence is there. Like, yeah. Coach Stephen said, hey Craig, hope you're... you don't seem yourself, hope you're okay. I'm a little bit wound up, to be honest with you, Stephen, because over the last 24 hours, I've seen people put words in my mouth that I never said. I've seen people say that I said that the announcement was going to be today. I've seen people say, oh, I haven't heard anything yet. You're obviously wrong. So I knew when I said what I was saying that there were going to be some people that doubted me, and that's absolutely fine. You should always. But I really just... I get really wound up, Steve, when people put words in my mouth and say things that I haven't said, because I'm very meticulous in what I do say. So that, and it's just been a busy day. It's been a crazy busy day. Can't wait for Slot to go and seen Enrique's favourite with the bookies. By the way, love the work, mate. Keep it up. So my understanding is that Luis Enrique is signing a 4-year deal with Paris Saint-Germain. I would absolutely love that not to be the case. Oh my God, I'd be over the moon. But last time I'd seen anything about that, it was that deal was done. It just needed to be signed, but they didn't want any interference before the Champions League final. So I think you'll see Enrique sign a new deal with PSG after that. But God, I hope I'm wrong on that, because I love him. I think he's absolutely ideal, of course. But Sebastian Hoeneß, I've seen a lot of social media excitement around Hoeneß over the last day or two, and he's certainly intriguing, is what I would say, from a brand of football wise. And you know, looking at Stuttgart and their fans, they love him. They love him. There's somebody was kind enough to say to me yesterday, and I didn't know this, that he was a nephew of Uli Hoeneß, the Bayern Munich president. I didn't know that until someone said it to me yesterday. But that's a really interesting little tete-a-tete, if you want to say. And I think he was Bayern Munich's second team coach at one point, before he went on to manage who he's managed since. And obviously Stuttgart, I think, have a German Cup final coming up as well. So who would you guys realistically like to see come in? Because I mean, I don't want to get people's hopes up about Enrique, because I really don't think it's possible. For me at this point, obviously Alonso's gone to Chelsea, so I'm probably... I probably edge Nagelsmann at this point in my mind, but that may be because I know Nagelsmann's managed at a higher level. So maybe Nagelsmann, like Iriola and Sebastian Hoeneß are very credible, but it is a big jump up. But yeah, let's see what you guys think anyway. Hoeneß or Nagelsmann, said Gareth. Hoeneß or Iriola, said Alex. Nagelsmann, said BT63 Red. Nagelsmann or Hoeneß, said Christina van der Merwe. Mike Bassett, England will be playing 4-4-2. It baffles me where they wait until the end of the season to sack Slot. Should have been replaced long ago. I think, Barry, they wanted him to work. Obviously, they wanted to give him and I would have sacked him earlier on, mate, but I've always tried to say I understand why they'd want to give him the season after winning the league. If he didn't win the league, I don't think he should have got the season, but as much as I disagree with the decision, I could understand it. But even at that, he's made a very simple Champions League qualification extremely difficult because of the way it's happened. And you know the way Jason Burt was saying, I'd like to see him speak about Salah. Yeah, do. I'd love to see Arne speak about Salah as well. I really would. Because I'd love to know what he thinks Salah's done wrong. But these journalists, man, they do my head in. And as Barry said on X, they wonder why they're losing jobs to fan media because there isn't an ounce of fucking sincerity. Even the situation with Manchester United appointing Carrick's hilarious. All of these people saying they shouldn't do it. All of them, when Carrick was coming in. Doesn't matter what job he does, he shouldn't get the job permanent until he starts doing really well, and then they're all falling all over themselves again and going, oh, give him the job, give him the job. Yeah. Paul Joyce still says Slot staying. Okay, so what I read there is Everton fan says Slot staying. Anybody, right, how would I say this? Anybody who gets their information from Edwards and Hughes is going to be saying Slot staying. Your Ornsteins, your Pierces, your Joyces. Anyone that's their outlet, and that's what they're going to... And they've all said it all the way through. So are they really going to all of a sudden say, do you know what, we've been wrong for months? Because the people that are giving them the information are the ones whose jobs are on the line here as well, and whose neck is on the line, and whose reputation's on the line. But they're all getting briefed from the same people. So I can tell you that because I know that to be a fact. I'd like to see Edwards go, not being replaced, keeping Hughes on to make the decisions he's supposed to make without somebody over his head, and then decide to assess about him. I think that would be reasonable as well. I've never really understood what it is that Edwards supposed to be doing outside of that multi-club model thing that FSG obviously pulled the plug on. And again, even as fans, we didn't get any communication over that, did we? As to why they pulled the plug on that. You know, the only thing I've seen about it is that they didn't think they could make a quick enough profit or return on their investment with what they were offered or what was out there in the market. So, if I'm Edwards, I'm probably scratching my head thinking, well, what is it exactly I'm supposed to do at this point? Because Pedro Marquez and a couple of others were doing the rounds, Europe and elsewhere, looking for clubs for them. And, you know, that's just been shelved up. So my argument here would be, who's paying him? Because there's a lot of money gone in for nothing. You know, I don't know what his actual salary is, but I've seen estimations out there, and if the estimations are even in the same ballpark, it's eye-watering amount of money. So yeah, and look, remember there was a fight behind the scenes, or a battle of wits between Klopp and Edwards' side over power and who wants it. But ultimately, the guys who've been given the power have shit to bed. So are they really going to be wanting to tell people that they've made a mistake? Are they really going to be wanting to run to Joyce? Why have they gone out of their way to say so much that they're backing him? Because they're nervous. Because they know their neck's on the chopping block. What else we got? this one from Tanya. Slot should have been sacked after Nottingham Forest beat us 3-0 at Anfield. Tanya, there are a whole collection of numbers, records, whatever you want to say for this season that don't make for pleasant viewing. How many times have we said for the first time in 50 or 60 years this has happened? Like, look at it. I'll try to remember as many of these as I can. In our XG, which Arne Slot says we've been incredibly unlucky in. Remember? We've been incredibly unlucky and we're just missing chances. Well, we're 7th for XG, which is the lowest we've been in the Premier League era. The first half of games, we've scored 5 goals in the last 20 or 21 first halves of football. We've lost 19 games, 20 if you count the Community Shield. We were beaten by 3 goals or more 3 times in a row. There is just record after record, stat after stat, fitness chart after fitness chart. We were outrun by Chelsea, who hadn't outrun anybody else all season. His methods are bullshit. And it's so obvious. If you know football and you know what you're looking at, those methods are clearly flawed. Because the lads just cannot get going. And you've seen all year people criticising his training methods and sports scientists criticising his training methods. Not me or Joe Public. People with degrees in sports science calling out the nonsense of little 20-minute drills. The whole thing is Arne Slot hasn't been able to sort it out and he's gone into panic mode and tried fucking everything and nothing's worked. Wayne said, my birthday tomorrow. Please, Liverpool, give me the best gift and Slot tomorrow. And please, Adidas, a birthday gift. Please sponsor Craig. Well, I know one birthday gift you're getting because I have to play a part in it. So I know that much, Wayne. But happy birthday, my man. Looking forward to officiating over your wedding. And you're not getting off the hook on that, dude. I want to be officiating that wedding. So you're not getting off the hook on that one. I'll be over there with Sabrina next year for the wedding. My least favourite stat we have under Slot is how much we run compared to the rest of the league. Mo is right. We should be heavy metal football again. That's another thing actually worth bringing up for Messrs Hughes and Edwards and their data. Remember that, like, 2 things that aren't debatable that we were told. 1, we were told that Ekitike and Isak were statistical brothers. That when you look at their numbers, their data, that they're almost a match. Really? On the pitch, they don't look anything like the same ilk of player. And we were also told that Arne Slot was going to continue on with the work and the philosophies and that he was very similar to Jurgen and it wouldn't be a big upheaval. How's that gone? How's that gone? Does any of this resemble anything that you remember from the Jurgen Klopp era? Does any performances that you've seen resemble anything like the Jurgen Klopp era? No. This man has been out of his depth for at least 16 months now. He knows it. Hughes and Edwards know it. But, like I said, deep down, the numbers aren't going to lie on this. And FSG, let's say I'm wrong. Let's say my information's wrong and I'm wrong on this one. He's going to be gone by November because he's going to shit the bed anyway. Because the fans don't want him. And FSG won't be able to get past that. They won't be able to get past the fact that fans won't be buying the tickets. Fans won't be putting up with it. Fans will be booing. It's going to get toxic. Online, it's going to get even worse. And all of this for what? Is this the hill you want to die on? Is this really the guy you want to nail your colours to the mast on? No. Look, it's Ryan. How are you, my man? Craig, I've been watching the stream since the summer. This is my first super chat because I'm usually still working during the streams, live in the USA, but always listen along. Big fan. You get it. We'll get through this, bro. That really means a lot, my friend. Thank you. For anybody to take the time to come in, comment, or to spend their hard-earned money to highlight a message and send a super chat, dude, it means so much to me. It really does, and I don't take them for granted, so thank you. And I really appreciate your support as well. Thank you. I mean that, Ryan. Really appreciate you, bro. Thank you, and I hope you continue to enjoy the content. You're going to see some new faces over the next while. Bence will be doing a little bit with us, so I can tell you that. Bence will be doing a couple of videos with us here and there every week. We've got another new face that you'll be seeing tomorrow for the first time in the Anfield Agenda podcast. giving them a little warm-up for next season, because Anfield Agenda Extra is going to have lots of more content, lots of new people on there. So, yeah, I'm excited. And, of course, the new studio as well. Individuals cost us this season, not the manager. And Mr. Grey LFC, what have you got to back that up, mate? That individuals cost us and not the manager? Because the manager's training methods led to some injuries. You've got a player in Frimpong who hadn't got any injuries before he came to Liverpool. He's had 5 muscle injuries. It was the manager that went with 5 at the back against PSG. It was the manager that's training them. So I'd love to know where the individual players that cost us are. Please enlighten me, because I'm all ears. And I mean that sincerely. Let me know exactly how the individuals have cost us and not the manager this year. And remember who brought these guys in, a lot of the players. Remember who was over that. But I dare say you won't be able to, or you'll give me something vague, because we both know that's just silly. Can you shout out my family, Lynn and Pete? Of course, yes. Lynn, Pete, how are we? And Sue as well, thank you. Appreciate you being in. And yeah, thank you for your support and for watching. I hope the family are well. And yeah, shout out to Lynn and Pete. Much love. Hope they're well. Apologies. There's a few of them I've been working back up and down through, but don't worry, I have a separate tab open to make sure I don't miss any of them. But thank you, Sue. Appreciate you. Captain should speak up after Mo. Even Gakpo liked his post. Yep, there's been more and more people liking it today as the day's gone on. So here's some stats for you, by the way. Players who have contributed in 50% or more of Premier League games this season, so contributed a goal or an assist. Haaland has 21 in 34. Bruno, 21 in 34. And Salah, 13 in 26. They're the only players that have played a minimum of 15 games that have contributed a goal or an assist in 50% or more of Premier League games this season, and that's on Mo's, I won't say worst season, but on a poor season. He's still up there. This is a post that caught our eye today from a gentleman called Jassi Sadhu, and he said, sacking managers isn't the Liverpool way. Players speaking out against the management isn't the Liverpool way, but apparently losing 20 games in a season, getting absolutely smashed up and down the country with no style or tactical setup while playing mini breaks in between City defeats is the Liverpool way and acceptable because it means more. It's spot on. You know, sacking a manager isn't the Liverpool way, but as Yassi said there, getting booted up and down the country, losing 19 games of football, being unable to stay up with teams, compete with teams physically, all of that is it's the Liverpool way. But don't worry though, the data's got it all sorted for us folks, so we don't need to be concerned because Mr. Data is here. Right, let's go through some of these odds. Now, these are odds from earlier on, so they may have changed, but these are the current odds to be Liverpool's next manager as of earlier on today, and this was posted by Anfield Edition, so credit to them. Luis Enrique, 7-2, was top of the pile. Andoni Iraola, 4-1. Sebastian Hoeneß, 9-2. Julian Nagelsmann, 6-1. Jurgen Klopp, 17-2. Oliver Glasner, 9-1. Unai Emery, 10-1. Simone Inzaghi, 12-1. And Stevie G, 14-1. Which... yeah, look, I don't think Steven Gerrard should be even under consideration for the full-time gig. 1,000,000% you're still officiating it, mate. Thank you, Wayne. Appreciate that. Riley as well. How are you, Riley? Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you. This one, Mohammed, said, what's your opinion on the Alonso situation? Look, I'd be a liar if I said, Mohammed, that I wasn't disappointed that they didn't want to go down the Alonso route. But from speaking to people over the last day or two, they believe that, again, stylistically, the club don't think it's the right fit. And I can understand that, because if you want to go back to playing a high-intensity, high-press game of football, Alonso isn't that type of coach. He's more in the Pep Guardiola mould. So, disappointed, but understanding of the reasoning. But still disappointed. I can't lie. Like, I would have loved Alonso to come in. I think it's a mistake going to Chelsea. I don't think it's the right job for him after the Real Madrid job, but I would say I wish him well, but I don't, because it's Chelsea. So, nothing but love for Alonso, but I don't wish him well because I don't want Chelsea to be successful. Thank you for giving us all hope. Look, mate, I promise you, it's not an easy decision to say some things, because I know that people, every night I stream and I go live, I know there's people sitting there waiting for me to fuck up on something. I know they're waiting for me to say something I shouldn't say, or have an outburst that goes over the line. And it's something that I've tried to walk the tightrope of for 8 years. And it's very difficult. It's a lot easier to do pre-recorded content and stick up 8, 12-minute videos where there's no pressure, you're not live, you're not in the moment. It's very difficult to do it. So when I come on to say something like last night, I don't say it lightly. I don't. That's not the type of person I am. Mohammed, thank you, man. Wow. Man, you're so kind, dude. Thank you. Mohammed, that's phenomenal. And you're looking sharp in that suit as well, dude. Dude, wow. I wish I could give you a hug, man, and say thank you. I really do. I wish I could give you a hug, buy you a cup of coffee, buy you a meal, mate, do something. Wow. And look, is there a possibility I'm wrong about this situation? Well, of course there is. Like I said, I have a source, a journalistic source, a very, very good journalist. But like anything else, if I'm wrong, I'm not going to hide. I'll put my hands up, I'll apologise, and I'll talk about the situation. But it hasn't evolved yet, so I'm not wrong. At this moment in time, everything that I told you yesterday, I still believe today. Only for now, I know that there's at least 2 more journalists that are looking for their second source to corroborate the same information. But again, Mohammed, man, dude, thank you. I have a little video, and I don't know if I should play it or not, but I wanted to give you a sneak peek at our studio. Fuck it. I'll give you a sneak peek. 1 sec. One second. So I'm going to give you a sneak peek inside the Anfield Agenda studio. You ready? So this is just a little quick video my wife took today. You're going to see it once, and that's it. It's gone after that. It's going up once, and that's it. But here we go. There you go. So that is a little glimpse, a little sneak peek for you of the studio that we will we'll be moving into. It's not fully finished yet. There's a bit of tidying up to do, a few wires to hide, and a few other bits and pieces. But yeah, that's the studio that our community helped us to build by being supportive of us, by being here with us, by watching the channel. So that's where we're. I still can't believe it. Like, I can't believe that there. I can't believe that exists. Yeah. Yeah, the Rio jersey is my pride and joy. Yeah, I love the Rio jersey. That was when we got that, I was so happy because he's the future. I have a Stevie G shirt that's going up. It's just I haven't got the string on it yet. So there's a Steven Gerrard shirt that'll be going up on the wall as well. I have Stevie G. I haven't Ben. I have 2 Steven Gerrard shirts. I've got one in my hall in my house, and I've got one that's in the office. I just don't have the string on the back of it yet, so I haven't been able to hang it up. But I will be removing the Maca Argentina shirt, putting the Coretown Hibs Anfield Agenda shirt there, and then putting the Gerrard shirt where the other shirt was on the back wall. But yes, I have one. Don't worry. It feels like he's screwing us on purpose, fraud. I've always felt Irvin like he feels like he's doing us a favour being at the club rather than the other way around. Um, you need a Robbo one. I'd love one. I'd love one. There's two that I'm trying to get: Andy Robertson and Bobby Firmino. They're the two shirts that I still want to get. Bobby Firmino. I have a Bobby Firmino painting, but I don't have a Bobby Firmino shirt, and I'd love a Bobby Firmino shirt. So yeah, I'm trying to get them. But you're right about Robbo as well, 100%. Hi Craig. Edwards and Hughes contracts haven't been renewed. The reason why is business reasons. Reason for the riff. The signings were to push shirt sales and to grow the market in Japan, at least in my view. So Nick, there's been a few people who've talked about a rift behind the scenes. Now I don't have that information. A couple of people came in the other night into the chat and mentioned it as well, that they've heard it. And I've heard it from a couple of people third hand. So it's not information that I can say I know is there, but I'd be surprised, Nick, at this point if there wasn't a bit of headbutting behind the scenes or, a bit of aggro behind the scenes, because a lot has gone wrong very quickly and some big player acquisitions haven't lived up to anywhere near what everybody would have hoped. Why hasn't your journalist posted your story if 100%? I told you why. See, John, this is what winds me up, mate. I've said 5 or 6 times tonight why they haven't. And it's really straightforward. They need a second source before they run with it and post it. I've said it multiple times, mate. But again, I don't, John, respectfully, mate, you can believe me or not believe me. I won't lose a minute's sleep over it, dude, because I know where I got it from and I know what I know. You don't have to trust me, cool. But I also don't have to explain myself every 5 minutes because someone's impatient. I've explained the journalist thing 5 times since this stream has started, minimum. I'm scared the fragile egos are keeping the bald fraud in a job. Just watch the inside trainer from a couple of years ago to now. It's embarrassing. You don't even see as many inside training vids these days because there isn't enough footage, quite frankly. Because the training's pathetic. They do little 20-minute sessions here or there with the ball. A lot of weird stuff that you'll see, like just body movements and stretching, and it's just too low intensity. I could try to explain it to you, but I'd probably make a bollocks of it. So I'd say look at somebody like Simon Brundish's work, who's done really good work on it. Craig, I need some reassurance. Have you heard anything about this? Is running through to it. Apparently, a technical director of Feyenoord confirmed Iranian is leaving for Club Liverpool. That's been talked about for a month now. So he's leaving his role at Feyenoord, yes. And when Slot was still being backed at the club, the wheels were in progress for him to become whatever at Liverpool. I don't know what his role would have been. But he was originally supposed to come in with AREN, but he couldn't get the work permit at the time. So he stayed. And I don't really know what the latest situation is with Giovanni van Bronckhorst's Feyenoord role either. Whether he's going back there or not, I don't know what's going on that one. But yeah, the thing you mentioned there a moment ago, that's something that was in the works if AREN was staying. Whether he still pushes through, we'll see over the next few weeks. But like I said, my information that he's getting fired, he wouldn't be coming over then, obviously. What about Cesc Fabregas? From what I can gather, he wants to stay at Como for another season. I was looking earlier on, they still have an outside chance of the Champions League. Roma are, I think, 2 points ahead of them maybe, with 1 game to go. But they're, at the very least, guaranteed Europa League football. And on Fabregas, I thought Chelsea might have been a better fit for him. I have a sneaky feeling that Fabregas might be keeping his powder dry in case the Barcelona job ever comes up. But I've personally never heard of anything linking us with him. I did point you to a piece from Dave Davis at Anfield Index the other day that talked about... I'll read it out to you again. It's probably the easiest way to do it. 1 second. There we go. Let me just read this article out to you. It's easier than me just trying to... 1 sec. Here it is. Right, so this was from... who's the writer on this one for Anfield Index? Bear with me. I think it was Dave Davis at Anfield Index. But either way, it is an Anfield Index article. And it said, exclusive, Liverpool considering Bundesliga head coach as potential Arne Slot replacement. Now, this article was written in March, if my memory's right. And it said, exclusive, Sebastian Hoeneß on Liverpool's radar with Arne Slot's future uncertain. Despite winning the Premier League title in his debut season, Liverpool head coach Arne Slot is under immense pressure. And this was when we drew with Spurs. It said Sunday's 1-1 draw with Spurs left the Reds sitting 5th in the Premier League table with just 8 games to go. Whilst reports suggest Arne Slot still has the full backing of the club, Anfield Index sources can confirm that Liverpool have started drawing up a short list of potential candidates for the head coach role. And then it went on to say, and according to Anfield Index sources, VfB Stuttgart head coach Sebastian Hoeneß is one of the names under consideration should the club part ways with Arne Slot this summer. The German head coach has held managerial roles at Bayern Munich, their second team, Hoffenheim and Stuttgart. His recent success at Stuttgart has propelled him onto the radar of top clubs, having saved Stuttgart from relegation in 22-23. Hoeneß has since guided the club back to the Champions League after a second place finish in 23-24. And then they went on to say last season saw his side finish 9th in the Bundesliga but managed to win the DFB Pokal, which was the club's first trophy since 2007. The 43-year-old has also an impressive track record of developing talent. Players like Angelo Stiller, Guirassy have excelled under his guidance. A key factor behind Liverpool's interest is Hoeneß's ability to work under a structure alongside a sporting director. However, with Stuttgart currently sitting 4th in the Bundesliga, they're on track to secure Champions League football for next season. In contrast, Liverpool's spot in the elite tournament is far from secure. And as I said, that was written back in March, I believe. And I brought that up because I want to give credit to Anfield Index for being very early on that with Hoeneß. Craig, why don't you connect the earphones to the TV so you can hear the audio if it's possible? Oh, it is possible. The problem is because I have Asperger's, part of my issues are I've got sensory issues. So if I'm listening to audio and trying to talk in here, I'll hear jumble. I'll be confused and I'll probably just be repeating what's in my ear. So it will distract me. And that's why I can't do it. Others can do it. I've seen like Goldbridge and others do it all right. I can't do it because of the Asperger's sensory issues thing. It would just be so confusing for me that I'd probably just end up frustrated, in all honesty. Yeah, that's why. You deserve this. Keep up all the hard work. You do. Thank you, Hamoudi. Appreciate you. Do you have a Crown Paint shirt or a candy one? I think I have a picture of me with one of them. 1 second. I think I have. 1 sec. I'm trying to find it so I can show it to you if I still have the photo. I think the shirt's up in the attic. Yeah, that probably won't show it right, but you can see me there. That's the 1990 candy one. That was me and my son when he was a baby or a toddler. But yeah, I have the candy one there, the 1990 candy one. Amazing. Congratulations, Craig and Connor. Thank you. Appreciate you, Alan. What players need to leave this summer? Oh, good question. Need to leave. I don't know if I can say what players need to leave, but I can tell you what players might leave, if that's any good to you. Kanade might leave. Alisson might leave. Robbo is leaving. Maka might leave. Jones might leave. Endo might leave. Chiesa will leave. Who else is there? Salah's obviously departing. Other than that, maybe one or two fringe. Elliott will be moved on, unless, of course, the new coach wants to keep Elliott involved. Then maybe Harvey can be convinced to come back. I don't think I've missed any there off the top of my head that are likely to go. No, I'm not saying as well every one of those are going to go, but if I was to put together a collection of players that I think could potentially depart, they'd all be on the list. I got a Bobby signed frame shirt for Christmas. Nice, Tyler. Nice. Very jealous. That's the one that I definitely have on my wish list. VVD. I don't know. See, I don't know how to get a read on the VVD situation. I don't have any information on it. I've read the same articles everybody else has read, linking Virgil with Galatasaray, but I have no idea if there's any credibility to those or not. Like I wouldn't even know where to start. If I was selling this summer, I'd sell Bradley, Costas. I'm easy with Canade. I don't mind that going either way. I wouldn't sell Alisson. I'd sell Maka. I'd see what Jones wants to do and go from there. I'd sell Endo. I'd sell Chiesa. The Gakpo thing I see in the chat, I told you, somebody said to me the other day, or somebody posted somewhere, that they'd like to see Liverpool try to get Barcola and Diamonde, and then when we have Hugo back, sell Gakpo. And I'd be all over that. I'd be all over that. Like, so let's look at the people who are trying to say that Arna's going to stay. There's just so many failures from Slot and Edwards and their recruitment and things that they've just gotten very, very wrong, that of course they're trying to give Arna another chance because they don't want to admit that they've been wrong on it. But there's plenty of things. Like, who the fuck thinks that Cody Gakpo deserves that wage? Whoever gave him that wage should be fired immediately. 250 grand a week for Cody Gakpo's a piss take of a wage. With Gravenberch, I don't mind it, because Gravenberch I think will progress and continue to get better and better and better. But whoever thought giving Cody Gakpo 250 grand a week is in any way sensible should be fired. That's a ridiculous decision. Because Cody Gakpo isn't even in any of our best starting 11s. And wouldn't have been when Diaz was around either. He's a useful squad player. I'm not saying Cody Gakpo's trash or anything like that. But he's nowhere near a £250,000 a week player. Like, remember what Virgil had to do to get up to those numbers. And what Salah had to do to get to those numbers and then beyond. It's fucking criminal. These lads have made that decision. They've made the decision to mess up the Elliott deal, which they were going to get 35 million quid for. Now they'd be lucky to get 20. So they're going to lose 15 or 20 million quid for FSG there. They're going to lose money eventually on Gakpo when they have to move him on. They've also shit the bed on other deals that they've done. And they don't exactly look genius now moving Tyler Morton on. They ran Jarell Kwanzaa out of the club. Was it a coincidence that Kwanzaa then all of a sudden said he's fallen in love with football again? I mean, there's just so many things they've done and they've clearly made mistakes with that they just don't want to admit they're wrong. But they've been so wrong. And if I'm FSG, I'm fucking fuming about that. Benitez, thoughts? No. I think football's moved on past Benitez style. I even tried to pay attention when he was at Celta Vigo, and that didn't end well. No, not for me. And I don't like managers returning, really, because with Rafa, I have Istanbul. I have that memory forever. And that will always be my abiding memory of the Rafa era. So I don't want that tarnished by him coming back as a poorer version of himself, because I don't want that tarnished, because I love Rafa. How are we, my friend? Forget the trolls, Craig. They have no one. You have an army of Liverpool supporters in this city. For me, you bring me cheer, laughter, and most of all, hope for our club's future. Thank you, bro. Don't know what I've done to deserve your kindness, mate, but thank you. Yeah, I know as a Scouser, man, that means a lot to me, because I love your city. I love the people of the city. And I know how much Liverpool fans are hurting. And I also know, as I've said many times, that fans don't boo inside Anfield easily. It takes them to feel a real sense of either betrayal or anger to get to that point. And you've seen, look, if you're FSG and you own the club, you've seen season ticket holders and fans that go away to watch the team leave stadiums early. And they're the diehardiest of the diehard. Like, they are up and down the country every week, home, away, Europe. Like, their lives are spent following Liverpool around. And they've seen it all. They've seen all the eras. And they've seen the best. They've seen us go and play the best. You can't fool these people. Like, they're not idiots. And if they're walking out early over and over again, and then you've got the season ticket holders and the cop and all booing, there's no rescuing this situation for Arne. None. Because the fans don't want him. And when the fans don't want you, it's not going to go away. He even said it himself earlier on in the season, that when it gets to this point and people have turned on you, it's near impossible to turn it back around. And that's if you want him to turn it back around. But Liverpool fans just don't want him. So they need to get that through their heads. And I'm not trying to say Liverpool fans should dictate every manager's job. But this is a very particular circumstance, in a very particular moment, that they have to do the right thing on. Because if they dare not do the right thing, for whatever reason, it's going to set the club back and it's going to cost money. They should look at this and think, my God, we might scrape into the Champions League. How fucking lucky are we? Because we've been so far off at that. Let's be honest, we probably don't deserve Champions League football this year. And again, they've got away with it by the skin of their teeth. And they didn't try to correct course in January and fix the season. They didn't try to do anything then. And they haven't given him a new contract. It's very easy. If you back him, give him a new deal. Because if the guy that you think is going to turn it round turns it round, you're going to have to pay a lot more money to keep that manager in the job, if indeed he'll stay in the job, if he was a success. So they don't even really believe deep down he's going to turn it round. They have hope that he'll turn it round. But these aren't supposed to be people that work off emotion, remember? They're supposed to be the people who make decisions based on the evidence, the data, the numbers. And all of that seems absolute bollocks at the minute. It seems like their air of invincibility or their genius has washed away. And it's pretty clear now that they have flaws. So I don't even understand how it's gotten to this point where we've had to wait this long for a common sense decision on a manager that nobody wants. And I do mean fucking nobody. It's not personal, but nobody wants him here. If Alisson leaves, who'll be your first choice? I don't know, because it's an absolute catastrophe they shit the bed with the goalkeeping situation again. That's another one, by the way, we can bring up in the Hughes and Edwards shit the bed list. They took us from having the strongest goalkeeping department in Europe to having Kelleher off of Brentford. The goalkeeper they brought in, at the very least, we're on the fence about. And then you've got Alisson, who is flirting and potentially going to go to Juventus. Now, why do all these people suddenly want out of Liverpool? Or is it a coincidence that Gomez might want to go, that Jones might want to go, that Alisson might want to go, that Robbo is going, that Salah is going? All this is just a big coincidence, is it? That all these players who have been nothing but committed to Liverpool all of a sudden want to go. I don't know. That seems like a pretty big coincidence to me. I did read that Mike Gordon, president of FSG, is now leading talks on future and that he wants Jurgen back. What's your thoughts on that? I have no idea whether they could convince Jurgen to come back or not. And I both would love it and I'd be scared of it. I'd love it because the obvious reasons. It's Jurgen. I'd be scared of it because I would hate his legacy to be tarnished in any way, if that's possible. And I'd be worried that if it didn't work out, that it might be. But I'd be probably more happy than anything else. But I couldn't say whether that's true or not because I don't know anything about that. Oh God, I'd love it. I'd love it. I'd love Kloppo back. That would be amazing. But I would be worried about it. So we asked, did Salah do the right thing to speak out about standards? 95% of people said yes, he did the right thing. So your Nevilles and your Jason Burts and all these other people that have an opinion and want to hang Mo out to dry can do one. Fan sentiment is very much behind the manager. Oh, excuse me, Jesus. Fan sentiment is very much behind Salah and not the manager. Because Salah is saying what everyone's thinking. It's not even up for debate. Salah has, again, showed why we all view him so highly. Do you think Salah's post after Leeds was a diplomatic way of saying the same thing as yesterday? He took so much heat back then, but he was right. So it wasn't a post back then. He had, in an interview, Roshi, with the media after the game. So what we didn't know back then, I think, which maybe differentiated from now, is we didn't know at that point whether Mo was speaking for Mo or whether Mo was speaking for the dressing room. We didn't know whether Mo was feeling frustrated because he wasn't having the season he'd hoped for, or whether something had changed and he'd spotted it and he wanted to come out and say it. This time around, though, we know. This time around, you can see the backing. You can see the people that have liked the post, commented on the post, the amount of players, former players. It's pretty clear. So this time around, we know what he's talking about. Yeah, that's all I can say. Because without saying that, I'd be just putting words in Mo's mouth. But I do believe fully that he speaks for the majority of that dressing room. And I think most people do as well. Iriola or Honus? Salah's post catalyst, the slot sack. I've no idea. Cameron on the post, whether it has anything to do with it or not, mate. I don't know. Iriola or Honus? That's a good question. Honus, I think. Iriola's a good coach. I just don't know if he has the gravitas to be a Liverpool coach. And I know maybe it shouldn't matter, but it does. You can't just be a good coach. You have to have it. You have to be a leader. You have to be a statesman. Like you have to have something. And maybe Iriola does have it, but I don't know. I only know Iriola from watching Rayo Vallecano and watching him play with Bournemouth. I don't know the guy. I don't pay attention to his press conferences or anything like that. But Sebastian Honus, for at least 12 months, has been a name that, in one way or another, I've heard, is of interest to Liverpool. What's this? So Simon Hughes says this, apparently. Salah was not close to Klopp and felt as though he had done as much for the manager status at Liverpool as he had done for him. During that campaign, 22-23 and one after, Salah openly questioned what was going on at Liverpool, but only within the confines of the dressing room. I don't know what to make from that, from Simon Hughes, but Mr. E-Reds and E-fans can fuck off. Anybody that writes for The Athletic, as far as I'm concerned, can fuck off at this point, because they're all just getting their information from Hughes and Edwards, and they're all basically gaslighting us. Like, again, how's James Pearce with a straight face going to tell us we weren't signing a goalkeeper when we knew we were in conversation with Mamardashvili? How is James Pearce with a straight face after Arne Slot wins a game going to say those with short memories and little patience have been muted as Arne Slot has breathed new life into a managerial reign which had veered so alarmingly off course? They're all, I've no respect anymore for those particular outlets, because all of them are just parroting club opinion. Not one of them writes an objective, critical post about anything that's going on at Liverpool. So, all of them. And again, the people sharpening their knives for Mo again today, fucking scumbags is all I can say. It's scummy. That, he's on his way out the door now, and now all of a sudden you're all willing to have bad things to say about him because he spoke up on behalf of the standards. They either don't get it or they're just willfully being contrarian. I don't know, but you've seen fan sentiment. Everybody backs Salah. Right, I'm going to ask on the Klopp poll for the last 20-25 minutes. Let's ask: would you take Klopp back? So I know on the face of it, this probably seems like an easy question, right? Would you take Klopp back? Of course I would. But for me, the only reservation is, like I've said, if it didn't work out, I don't want his legacy to be tarnished. Although to me, it would probably be near impossible to tarnish his legacy because I think that highly of him that I don't think there's anything he could do that would make me still not think he walks on water. Like I've been lucky enough to be around some famous people at some points in my life, but I've never ever been starstruck until Jurgen Klopp walked into a press conference and I was sitting in the front row and we had a chance to ask questions and I bottled it. And I'll openly admit that I bottled it. My mate asked the question beside me, but I didn't ask the question because I was just open-mouthed in awe of this. It felt like he had a glow around him. He walked into the room and I swear time stood still. I stood there going, and you know the way we always say, like, famous people are the same as you and me. He isn't. He just isn't. He just has it. Whatever that. Bottled it because I couldn't ask a question. I couldn't get it. I couldn't get the courage up to ask him a question. At that moment, I was just. And the day before, we'd been there in a Mourinho press conference because this was in Dublin at the Aviva. And Liverpool played one night and Manchester United played another night. And we had media passes to both. So we were in there for the Mourinho interview as well. Ironically, this interview, and I said I bottled the question and my mate asked one. My mate's question went viral. He asked about Coutinho and the injury. And that's where the whole back thing came from. And it was picked up by Sky and lots of others at the time. Because Coutinho all of a sudden had that back injury. But yeah, I couldn't ask the question. I bottled it. Like I just completely. Yeah, I just was so starstruck. Keith said, really want Luis Enrique. He'd get us Premier League. Look, Luis Enrique be the dream, Keith. He's the number one target for me and I dare say a lot of others. But I just don't think there's any chance of it because as far as I'm aware, there's a 4-year contract agreed with PSG already. But I'd love to be wrong on that, mate. I'd love something to have changed there. Bookies wise, numbers earlier on, he's the favourite, but still favourite at 9-2, I think. Look, he's the dream without a doubt. Hi, Craig. Saw something about SALAH going. Thanks. No problem, Dexter. Pleasure. Appreciate you being in, my man. Thank you. Where am I? Just checking if there's anything else I haven't gone through with you guys. Oh, so Trent Alexander-Arnold is another to have liked Mohamed Salah's post, by the way. It would have seemed mad to say a year ago, but do you think that Arne Slot influenced his decision to leave Anfield? I haven't got a clue. That was the question posed by Anfield Edition. I haven't got a clue whether it influenced his decision or not. There was also a post from Mohamed Salah Instagram with Vert, Szoboszlai and Kirkes all together for a meal. I'm sure you guys probably seen that one as well. Any news on Diamonde? I don't have anything for you on Diamonde. No, I don't have. I don't have any transfer stuff that is new that I know of today. I've seen lots of opinion around Diamonde. I have got a bit of Barcola stuff that I'll be covering in the roundup video that'll be recorded in about 15 minutes. And there's a couple of other bits and pieces as well that have just been sent in to me here from Connor for that I will go through. 1 second. Sorry, yeah, that's More Simon Hughes stuff. What else is here? So, sorry, I'm laughing because there's a story about Chiesa, and they're saying that Liverpool are looking for 25 million euro for Chiesa. I mean, best of luck getting that, because we paid, what, 12 million pound for him when he was 2 years younger. So, yeah, best of luck trying to get 25 million euro for Chiesa now. Something here from Simon Hughes that I don't know if it's... I'm going to read this out to you from Simon Hughes, because I don't know if he's hinting at what I'm saying or not. Let me read this out to you. So this is taken from one of Simon Hughes' pieces. You can find it on Anfield Edition's Twitter account. It said, not so long ago, some of Salah's associates in Egypt were quietly suggesting he had not totally given up on the idea of remaining at Liverpool despite recent announcements. Yet for that to happen, a regime change would be needed, starting with SALAH, but also in conjunction with the departures of the directors who have confidence in him but are simply only a year away from their own contracts being finished. What do we take from that? Genuinely, what do we take from that? I don't know how to interpret that yet. I'll have to think on that. Well, let me read it out for you again. Not so long ago, some of Salah's associates in Egypt were quietly suggesting that he hadn't totally given up on the idea of remaining at Liverpool despite recent announcements. Yet, for that to happen, a regime change would be needed, starting with SALAH, but also in conjunction with the departures of the directors who have confidence in him, but similarly only a year away from their own contracts being finished. Interesting. How do you guys perceive that? Yeah, that's interesting. Mark said, for me, once you announce you're leaving, that's no takebacks. I'd kind of probably be in the same boat as you, Mark, with that regard, but I'm also not going to be upset if he did decide that he wanted to stay either way. Regime change. Maybe the bald Irish idiot's right. I'm not going to lie, Klopp made the Premier League excited, and I think that's why Pep wants to leave Man City, because he's not really being challenged by any other teams. Yeah, do you know what I'm intrigued to see, Carbon? If Arsenal win the league, which of course it looks like they're going to do now, I'm intrigued to see if Arteta changes up his style going forward once they've won a Premier League, and maybe he doesn't have that pressure, whether he'd be a bit more expansive in the style of play. But also, I don't know what happens with Guardiola. I don't think anybody does. Everyone's trying to figure it out, but I don't know if anybody really knows what he's going to do or not. The Gakido said, make sure those journalists don't live it down when you were right all along. Look, I've no interest in making them not live it down. My argument and my beef with some of these journalists is that they've gone out of their way to gaslight Liverpool fans. That's my big gripe with a lot of them. It's that, like, nobody asked them something, and then they're coming out and just going, slot staying, slot staying, slot staying. Despite all the shit, despite the poor performances, despite the obvious failures, they just keep going to bat to say he's staying, 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 he's staying all year. And there's been no need for any of it. So, for me, there's very few journalists that cover our football club solely. And I have to differentiate, because there are great journalists that work in football. But the ones that cover our club solely, that's their patch, I could probably count on 2 fingers the ones whose opinion I actually think is valid. And I would say David Lynch is probably one of the better ones, even though we've had our own differences and fallout. I've at least seen him being sincere in his criticisms. recently of what's going on. And, whether David ever knows it or not, I really do think fair play in that regard, because he knows what he's seen as well. It's not good enough. And I watched his the last time we played at Liverpool, I watched his post-match stuff, and you could just see, like, he hated getting to the point where he said, I think the manager has to go, but he knows, like, common sense, what he's looking at. Like, he's at Anfield all the time. Like, he knows this is garbage. He knows this isn't good enough. And like I've said before, nobody wants to see a manager fail. There's no winners in any of this. But you have to put the club first, and if you're putting the club first, SALAH has to go. And someone said Melissa Reddy is normally spot on with what she says. I love Melissa Reddy as a journalist. I've never met her, never spoken to her. Love her work. I think she's brilliant. I love her insights. I love that she's not afraid to be strong in her opinions. And I thought the stuff she's written recently around Alonso and Liverpool and SALAH, I thought was spot on as well. Yeah, I think she's very good. Lewis Taylor said, Nagelsmann, Iraola, Honas are my picks for the next manager. What are your thoughts on this? Can't wait to get SALAH out. Keep up the good work, Craig. Those three names, you wouldn't get any pushback from me on if any of them came in. But I have to say, it would be unfair for any of us to say that there's an absolute bona fide guarantee of success anywhere outside of maybe Enrique. I think if you appoint Iraola, there's pros and cons. If you appoint Nagelsmann, there's pros and cons. If you appoint Honas, there's pros and cons. If you had appointed Alonso, there would have been pros and cons, and I was at pains to say that as well. But at least there's pros. I don't have any pros left to keep Arne in a job. Do we know what the slot out petition is at? Yep. Well, it's coming down in 90 minutes. I think the dude said he was ending it at midnight. So, 1 second. It is at... It's down. I don't know if he's taken it down, but it's down now. Yeah, and it's a different error code than before, so I think it might be down. Well, it's down for me anyway. Last I checked, it was on 6.7 something million. So it's gone over 6.5 million. And I remember the night it came out, we were in Discord and we were thinking, will it get to 100 or 200,000? Like, I remember having that conversation in Discord thinking, well, 200,000 might be a good return on it for, Liverpool fans. See it get to this point, it's actually insane. Like, to get 6.7 million people, to say, we want this manager out. How do you ignore that as owners? Like, you would be idiotic to ignore that. Leona said, final count, 6,735,851. That's a lot of Liverpool fans around the world showing their frustration with the managerial situation. And that is, I dare say you're not going to get that many people to click on anything for Liverpool. You couldn't get that many people to like a post. So to get 6.7 million people with the original goal of 100k, I think that, I've never seen Liverpool's fan sentiment this strong on a manager. I've never, ever felt it this strong. And I really don't understand why you would want to go to war with your own fan base for a failing coach. For contracts of people who are going to leave in a year anyway. It really it's mental. Craig, is Slot there for getting sacked? I don't want to get my hopes up and go through another season. Watch the absolute try football again. Respectfully, Keith, what do you think I'm going to answer the question? Like, am I going to go, I know, you got me, Keith. No, you got me. I'm absolutely bullshit, mate. I've got nothing. You've got me. Come on. Did I tell you we were going to sign Wirtz? Did I waver on that? Did I tell you we were going to sign Carvalho? I got the Canale thing right. Not this situation before that. If I say something, I believe that's to be the case, and my information is that that's the case. It wouldn't be in my own interest to come on here and lie to the very people that I thank on a nightly basis for supporting us, would it? But like anything, there will be times where my information is wrong, like anybody else. But on this one, we're just going to have to see how this plays out over the next little bit, aren't we? And like I've said, I believe I'm absolutely spot on. I believe more people will be talking about it over the next few days. But I don't know when the announcement will be. And I've always said that. I said it yesterday when I came on to talk about it. I went out of my way to say, I have no idea on a time frame. So yeah, I don't know what else you want me to say. Like, if I've said something, I obviously believe it. And I obviously have information for it. So, again, I don't mind if you're dubious about it. That's no problem. You should be. You should challenge anything. But I've tried to give you as much as I can. I've tried to give you as much of an idea of where I got it from as I can. And I can't really say anything else, because I've probably given more information about where I got it from than you're going to get from anybody else that has any story about anything. You know, you're not going to get Ornstein to tell you where he gets his information from, or Romano to tell you where he gets his information from. I've done as much as I can, but what I will never do is, when I say something, it's mine. It becomes my problem. So the person that gives me the information, I make the decision. I look at it, I weigh it up, I cross-check it as much as I can, then I make a decision to say it or not say it. And I live by that decision. And I take responsibility for that decision. Always, me. Nobody forced me to say anything. So if it turns out that I'm wrong, and I don't think I am, I will be the first person on here to say, I was wrong, my information was incorrect. I won't be hiding, but I don't think I will be. So I don't know what else I can say, mate. But yes, that's it. There's nothing else I can say. And I could have even not come back on tonight, you know, because it would have been easy, because I told you I was taking the weekend off, and then I worked last night, now I'm working tonight. But the plan is that I won't be working tomorrow on a live stream. We will have a podcast that will be coming out at about 8:30 tomorrow night, and a few videos. But my plan is to take tomorrow night off, because I didn't get to take nights off, because I knew if I didn't come back on tonight, it would probably cause a bit more stress for people, and I wanted to make sure I was here. So if there was a question and anybody had anything they wanted clarity on that I could talk to them about, I would. Craig, if we get the news we all want, will you do an emergency chat? Of course, mate. If the news broke tomorrow morning, of course I'd be on here to talk about it. I just don't know. I wouldn't know whether it'll happen now, whether it'll happen after the final game, whether it'll happen a week after the final game. I don't know. Obviously, like everybody else, I want it over with as soon as possible, because I want to start looking forward. I find it difficult until I got the information. I found it difficult to even get excited about transfers for this summer. Because in my head, I'm thinking, I don't care who we sign, because it's not going to make a difference, because his shitty coaching is going to ruin them anyway. So, yeah, at least now I feel, as a fan, a bit of relief. But, you know, let's wait and see. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to say goodnight. I'm going to go and record a roundup video with a few stories we didn't get through tonight. If you haven't entered a giveaway, we are giving away a signed and framed Robbie Fowler shirt, completely free, with thanks to our friends at thecollectorscorner.co.uk. We're giving away a signed item every month in 2026. We've given away a Klopp shirt, a Dalglish shirt, a Gerrard shirt, a Charles Oliveira UFC glove, and this month we're giving away a signed Robbie Fowler shirt. You can choose from any of the 3 shirts you see there on the screen, and our friends at the Collectors Corner will send it to you. If you'd like to get 20% off anything at thecollectorscorner.co.uk, you can do so with the discount code there, Anfield Agenda 1. That gets you 20% off at checkout. And also, if I could ask you one more little favour, if you could please do check out the Anfield Agenda Clips channel, which will become Anfield Agenda Extra very soon. We'll see new voices on there, new faces, new content types, and lots more for the new season. So do check out Anfield Agenda Extra, which is now Anfield Agenda Clips, and if you can sub to that, really appreciate it. Right, folks, I will see you in video form tomorrow, but I won't be here for a live stream tomorrow unless the news drops, obviously. But thank you for dropping in tonight. If you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, please do before you head off, and we'll see you soon. Much love. Bye.